What would happen if it never rained again? At first, almost nothing. A few sunny weeks wouldn't scare anyone. But then rivers would start shrinking, crops would stop growing, and within months, the planet would begin running out of water. Reservoirs would begin falling, slowly, then all at once. And eventually, even the hidden water beneath the ground would start to disappear. Farmers would notice it next. Plants would curl inward, trying to conserve what little moisture remained in the soil. Irrigation systems would run day and night, but those systems were never designed to replace the sky. Rivers depend on rain to stay alive. Without it, they begin to shrink. Wide channels of moving water narrow into shallow streams. In some places, the riverbed begins to appear again. Ground that once sat beneath millions of gallons of water. Cities soon begin restricting water. Lawns turn brown, fountains stop flowing, car washes close. Reservoir levels appear on the evening news like stock prices. And suddenly, everyone is watching the sky. But the clouds never come. Weeks pass, then months, and still, the sky stays empty. To keep water flowing, cities turn to another source. The reservoirs hidden deep underground. Aquifers that took centuries to fill begin to drain. Wells dig deeper every month. Pumps run longer every day. But even the hidden water beneath the ground isn't endless. Without rain replenishing the system, the planet slowly begins running out. Rivers run shallow, forests grow brittle and dry. Entire landscapes slowly begin changing color. And dry forests bring another danger. Fire spreads faster when the land has no moisture left. One spark can race through miles of dry vegetation. Smoke becomes a familiar sight on the horizon. Wildlife feels the change too. Animals depend on water just as much as humans do. As rivers shrink and watering holes disappear, wildlife begins moving in search of what remains. Herds migrate further than they ever have before. Some species quietly vanish from places they once thrived. Modern civilization depends on something else that rarely makes headlines: predictable harvests. Wheat, corn, rice, soybeans. When those crops fail, the consequences travel far beyond the farm. Grocery stores receive fewer shipments, prices rise. Entire regions begin competing for the same shrinking food supply. In some places, entire lakes begin to disappear. What was once open water becomes vast stretches of cracked earth. Standing in the center of these empty basins, it's hard to imagine boats once floated here. But the most dramatic change appears after a full year without rain. Some of the largest reservoirs on Earth reveal something almost no one alive has ever seen before. Entire towns that were flooded decades ago begin to reappear. Church towers once buried beneath deep water stand exposed again. Stone buildings, old roads, forgotten foundations. Places that disappeared beneath reservoirs generations ago slowly rise back into the sunlight. People walk across ground that was once far below the surface. Tourists take photos where boats once floated overhead. Standing in the center of these empty basins, it's hard to imagine lakes once stretched for miles in every direction. And massive dams built to hold oceans of water now tower over empty ground. Concrete walls built for lakes that no longer exist. Rivers fade, forests weaken, harvests fail. And suddenly, something the world once had in abundance becomes impossible to replace. Rain feels ordinary when it falls from the sky, just another part of the weather. But remove it for long enough and the systems holding the world together begin to loosen. Because without rain, even the greatest systems humans have ever built can slowly run dry. At first, the change seems small. A few dry seasons, reservoirs dropping lower than usual, rivers pulling back from their banks. But rain is how the planet renews its water. Without it, the balance begins to shift. Lakes shrink, soil dries, entire landscapes begin to change. And eventually, a much larger question begins to appear. If the rain never returned, how long would it take before the oceans themselves began to disappear?